Advanced builds are tricky because it's all about building statuses over time and then allowing those statuses to do a ton of damage to your enemies. So the build that I have put together is going to be a 100 level build and is also going to be filmed in New Game +1. This is a really fun build to use. You're going to do a lot of damage and it's going to make the game really easy for you as you're traversing through Lies of P. So I'm going to take you through the weapons you need to know and the stats I have just so you can figure out what you need to do to make this build work for you. So for weapons, you're going to want to use the weapons that have the best advanced scaling. So the two weapons that I have chosen for this particular build are a combination of 4 different weapons, so I'm going to take you through everything real quick. The first one we're going to be looking at is the Acidic Crystal Spear handle with the Salamander Dagger blade at +10. This is going to have a physical attack of 90 +3 and a fire attack of 90 +51, and although that doesn't feel like a ton of damage, the speed at which you attack and the ability to use Ignite as the Fable art on this weapon are going to make this crazy when you are using a advanced build. We are going to have an advanced scaling of A with this weapon while using 1 advanced crank, and then you're going to have motivity at D and technique at D as well, but neither of those are going to matter because all we're caring about is the damage we get from our advanced scaling. Now, fire is not the only status you're going to be building up with this build. We are also going to be using the circular electric saw blade with the electric coil stick handle. I do like this combination a lot for a few reasons, and the first of which are the Fable Arts Condensing Slash and Rush Slash are both really, really great. I absolutely love how they continually stagger bosses and enemies within Lies of P, and this weapon is also going to have an advanced scaling of A with a motivity scaling at C and a technique scaling of D. This weapon makes the build really versatile because depending on what type of enemy you're going up against, you can either build up that shock, which is super good against puppets and certain bosses in Lies of P, and when you don't want to use that, you can switch back to the Salamander Dagger blade and get that ignite build up on different puppets and flesh enemies in this game. I found that the variety of weapons within this particular build make the build really refreshing to use, and you're always going to have something for any situation you come across. So moving into the Legion arm, I wanted to have something that was pretty versatile and had a lot of really good abilities on it, and I wanted to also lean into the flame ignite side of things with this particular advanced build, so we are using the Flamberge Legion arm. It has an advanced scaling in A, a motivity scaling in C, and a technique scaling in D, and because we are speccing into advanced, it's going to give us a lot of fire damage when we are trying to get that ignite on enemies really, really quickly. I currently have 3 of 4 of the upgrades for this particular arm, but it seems to do the trick for this build, and I can't wait to get that 4th slot unlocked. Now, throwables are also going to be a very important part of this build, and we are going to be relying on the thermite, the throwing cell, and the carcass body fluid bottle mostly because any advanced build is going to allow your statuses to hit incredibly hard, so all of these throwable items are going to be better than they typically would. If you want to snag any of these throwable items, they're all going to be located at the Malum District Merchant, and he will sell them indefinitely. All you need to do is rest at the Stargazer for him to restock his throwables, and you just keep buying them over and over and over again. I would say in most cases, as you get farther into the game, having throwables equipped with this build is almost more important than the actual levels you get when you're leveling up through the game. Now guys, before we get into the amulets, I just want to take a quick second and thank you guys so much for all the support you've given to the channel. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers in 2023, which is absolutely incredible. I also want to thank you for giving my past Lies of P videos a lot of love, and I appreciate that a ton. So if you're enjoying the content and you're finding some value out of it, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so we can stay in contact, so I can see you guys in the comments. It's always a lot of fun talking to you guys. So without further ado, let's head into the amulets. Now, as far as amulets go, I have 3 amulets that really stay the same throughout this entire build, but the 4th one can cycle depending on what situation you find yourself in. Now, the first amulet in our slot number 1 is going to be the Life Amulet. This is going to increase our max HP by 7%. This game can be very unforgiving when it comes to enemy damage, and considering I do get hit more times than I perfect parry, having more health is going to benefit me personally and overall benefit this build very, very well. In our amulet slot number 2, I'm going to be using the Transformation Amulet +1. This is going to give us +6 advance, and having +6 advance is going to give us more damage to our statuses and more damage to our build overall. So this was a no-brainer for me because having more damage in this game is very preferable. Moving on to amulet slot number 3, we are using using one of my favorite amulets, the Blue Guardianship Amulet. This is a fantastic, amazing quality of life amulet for Lies of P. It's going to increase our max HP, our max stamina, and our max legion. At our base version, which we're currently using, we're going to get plus 5% HP, plus 7% stamina, and plus 7% legion. Overall, great stats to build on top of what we already have going on, and having that extra stamina is going to allow us to dodge around more because I'm not very good at perfect blocking, and also having more legion is going to allow our legion arm to really get that ignite pumping, so we don't have to worry about running out as fast. Now for our 4th amulet slot, this is the slot that continually changes depending on what situation I find myself in. If I happen to find myself like I am right now currently in the game fighting a lot of puppets, then I'm going to use the Puppet Destroyer Amulet, which is going to increase damage inflicted onto the puppets. Now if I'm in a different part of the game and I need to have an amulet that gives me different damage to a different damage type like carcasses or so on and so forth, then I will switch this out. It is personal preference though, but if you do want to switch this amulet out and you don't need the extra damage, I would highly recommend playing around the extra stamina recovery speed, which is really nice for this build. But also if you are very good with perfect blocking, then you can use the Conquering Amulet, giving you an extra boost after you perfect parry. Now as far as your defense parts go, these are all situational based on where you are in the game. These can be anything you want to make sure the game is easier on you in any given part of the game. For example, all of your heavy arch heavyweights frames are going to be different physical damage reduction rates, so whichever one is the best for you, go ahead and use that one. Now the same thing applies for your converter. If you need certain damage resistance to different types of bosses within Lies of P, switch out the one that gives you the best damage resist. Your cartridge is going to do the same thing, giving you different resistance and a little bit of physical damage reduction rate, but overall this is designed to give you the most advantage, having the most reduction rate to whatever boss you come across. And lastly, when it comes to your liner, the liner once again is situational. If you are up against an enemy with strike damage, use a liner that's going to allow you to have a strike damage reduction rate. Same thing with pierce damage, and so on and so forth. I have found that there's not one particular defense parts combination that is better than all of the others. It just depends on where you are. And the last thing that I need to show you for this build is overall just the P organ slots that I currently have equipped. As I've said in all of my other builds, all of the P organ is completely situational and based on how you personally want to play. So how I have things here may not be exactly how you want to do it, but this is what I'm currently using. In phase 1, I have 3 out of the 4 slots unlocked. I have add Fable slots, I have the Link dodge, which is super important, and I also have the increased pulse cells for more healing. In phase 2, I have rising dodge, which I really wish would be a part of the game rather than just something you have to upgrade. I also have the increased pulse cells for more healing. I have the added amulet slots to get more amulets, and then I also have the retain guard regain 1. Moving into the next phase, phase 3, I have the shortened fruit bearing time, and I also have the enhanced cell recovery plus 2. Finally, in phase 4, I have the added number of amulet slots, giving me a total of 4, which is going to help round out any build that you make. I don't have anything else leveled up in phase 5 or 6, but those are going to happen in New Game Plus. And I almost forgot to show you guys my stats at the end of the video, so here's what I'm working with. My vitality is at 35. I feel like that's a great amount of health. Vigor is at 25, capacity is at 27. I want to get to the point where I'm light rolling with all this gear I'm wearing. Motivity is at 9 and technique is at 9 because I am not spec'd into that at all. And advance is at 46. I'm probably going to take advance up to 50, but that'll be saved for the next build. And guys, there you have it, my very first advanced build. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I was really happy with how this build turned out, and I feel like it does a really decent amount of damage going through New Game Plus 1. So without further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification. We are on our way to 20,000 subs this year, and I'm super pumped about that, and I'm really curious if we can make it there. So thank you all once again. Feel free to check out my channel. I got a ton of different Lies of P, Elden Ring, and Lords of the Fallen videos up currently. So until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.